I'm here with Neal Goyal, who I first met at our event last time I was in Las Vegas in 2023, came to our C-suite mastermind. You're just an absolute veteran in this SaaS space. Shoptalk is what I like to call a bit of a sausage fest. There's a lot of the SaaS companies. Just give us a little bit of your background in the e-commerce SaaS space.
Yeah, first off, Eric, I have followed your journey for a really long time. I've attended your events.
Yeah.
I literally one of a kind.
Yeah. Speaking of one of the kind, I should just mention, but while we're here, just reference the fact that I'm getting an IV infusion of vitamin B12. I'm not at the hospital. Just want to reference if people are curious as to why I have got a needle in my arm.
That's right. We're here in the center of the Shoptalk floor.
Yeah.
We're injecting our wonderful humans that pass by with fluids, hydration, B12 to help them recover in Vegas.
I love it. That's perfect. Sorry, as you were saying.
You know, e-commerce has had an incredible space in my heart. You know, I remember when you think about the founders who start these brands, they are building these brands off their backs, from their basements, from their garages, from their pure hustle and grit. And the part I love about the space is being able to actually work with them. There's so much that radiates from their energy, their willingness to learn, willingness to adapt, failing fast. And I just got drawn into that. So I've spent the last 7 years of my career focused on serving exactly those folks. And it's been an absolute dream.
What's cool, but we find we love SaaS, as a media company in this space as well, because it can be so additive. It can be so additive to these companies' bottom lines. It can open up huge new opportunities. I know you're previously at Tapcart. I know a lot of brands swear by them as well. Talk to me a little bit about examples maybe you've seen where brands have found truly additive incremental revenue through a product that that you've been helping promote.
Sure. I think first off, we have about 13,483 software companies that are all trying to sell their software, present their software to the same 5,000 to 10,000 brands on Shopify. It's an incredibly crowded space. It's really hard to stand out. And as a result, brands are also inundated with so many options. Like, what do I choose to grow my business? Had it not been for Shopify, 99% of these brands would not have existed today. Software has enabled these brands to grow, but at the same time, software has created a polar opposite effect of what I describe as a shiny object syndrome. In other words, we have a tendency to chase every new shiny object that might potentially help our business. When the reality is that it really comes down to business fundamentals. It really comes down to really understanding the nuance of software, the pains, the challenges that you need to solve in your business, and understanding what specific software is going to solve that, as opposed to just chasing every single shiny object, right?
Now, speaking of shiny objects, a disco ball is pretty shiny. I know that's not what we're talking about, but talk to me about disco. It's kind of a new concept in sort of collaborative commerce that I was just doing a little research ahead of time. Talking about what you're doing at Disco.
100%. So Disco takes advantage of the single most magical moment in e-commerce. When you think of when the customer has made their purchase on a website, they have made the commitment to buy, their reservations have been pulled down, their walls have been broken, psychological barrier and dopamine release takes place at that moment. They physically have their wallets out, and any brand has the opportunity to advertise in that post-purchase space. It's a very high intent placement. It has a very high conversion and gravitation as a result for customers that just shopped because they were in that mindset to buy. At the same time, brands also have the opportunity to monetize that space. They have the opportunity to unlock more value that they didn't have, because the brands that are presenting these offers on their post-purchase are actually going to be earning ad revenue as a result of it too. So when you think about the number one trend, I think this started in 2024, where it was it shouldn't have been a new trend, but it just became very high focus, is the concept of revenue efficiency, right? How can we do more with less? How can we overcome challenges with rising customer acquisition costs? How can we work in a more margin constrained environment and with less resources? And so where Disco has really taken off in a big way is allowing brands an extra cash layer that they're actually able to earn a very passive revenue stream that goes straight in the form of pure profit check as a result of monetizing a previously unoccupied underutilized space.
It takes me back to my performance marketing days. I was working in an affiliate network, and I was buying this ad unit from Yahoo directly called the Yahoo Mail Monster. And it took advantage of exactly that sort of sentiment of after you've sent an email and just having completed something. It's not the same as making a purchase, but you're in this moment of like, okay, what's next? You're kind of open to that spot. So monetizing it makes a ton of sense. Are people monetizing it through rev share, through affiliate, or through actual like CPM ad rev?
The structures are quite flexible, actually.
Yeah.
I think when you think of a rev share model, right? If a brand is, for instance, has a $60 CPA, obviously they understand what they want to pay to acquire that customer. They've chosen it. But then for the publisher that's serving that ad, that publisher is going to earn a percentage of that ad revenue too.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a really powerful lever. I think the key piece, though, that determines whether or not it's going to be really successful is how personalized the offer can be.
Yeah.
And there's no ad network on the planet that has the power that Disco does in terms of understanding the shopping journeys for about 140 million customers, right? So Eric, for instance, we have the ability to know that Eric went over here and bought t-shirts at Cuts Clothing, came over here, bought some Billabong shorts, did 3 purchases at Reef, and then made 3 purchases at Hey Dude.
Yeah.
We have that entire shopper graph.
Yeah.
And therefore we can serve up the most personalized recommendations. So that's why the ad network works so well. Right.
And for someone else that looks like me, you'd be fingerprinting a similar type journey in a way, right? You could say, because this person looks like Eric, they bought something at Reef, let's show them something for Billabong kind of thing.
Exactly. This is exactly what our machine learning and AI does, right?
Yeah.
It understands which shopper profiles are resonating with which products, and it learns. So like if a recommendation was made to Eric based on his shopping behavior, but Eric didn't engage, that learning is taken into account in applying that to other Eric equivalents across the network.
What do you say to brands that maybe are viewing things more as like a zero-sum game in a way, where the shoppers only have so much money and they don't want to maybe share their customers with other brands? Are there controls you have about the kinds of brands that you're sharing your customers with?
Totally. Number one question we get is like, I don't want to show another competing brand on my post-purchase. And brands have full flexibility on who they show and who they don't.
Yeah.
Right. So they can exclude competitors, obviously, or entire categories. They have that full flexibility. I think there is an aversion of, at first, if a brand hasn't monetized before, like, do I want to even show another brand on my checkout?
Yeah.
And I think, let's put it this way. I think that goes away pretty quickly once they start receiving pure profit checks that they
wouldn't have made before. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like a pure revenue stream. I think one of our clients said this beautifully, that if they were to generate $1 million in profit, they would have to go sell $15 million worth of product to generate $1 million in profit.
Yeah.
But what if you could just have that on autopilot? It's the equivalent of selling $15 million of revenue, working a lot smarter now.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm all done. Thanks so much. I feel so rejuvenated. What kind of financial impact in a best case scenario are you seeing from these kind of integrations?
Sure. Candidly, it comes down to increasing margin in a pretty substantial way. If we're thinking about contribution margins, we're thinking of EBITDA that is shrinking by the day.
Yeah.
We've been able to bring EBITDA boosts anywhere from 10 to 20% on that bottom line.
Rock solid.
Which is substantial.
Yeah. Well, this was the first time, and maybe the only time, I will have conducted an interview while having an IB.
And more importantly, how do you feel?
I feel fantastic. I've kind of taken it easy the past 2 nights, but hopefully this has some preemptive benefit on what I plan to do tonight, which is cut loose a little bit more.
Actually, you're thinking down the right track. We have so many bookings for Thursday, and I'm like, why are they waiting till Thursday? This is a preventive.
Yeah.
So we're going to be seeing Little John tonight.
Yep.
Okay, Little John, and you'll be feeling like $1 million tomorrow morning.
This is a full circle moment for me. Back in my performance marketing days, one of the first campaigns I ever ran was a Blinko ringtone campaign or whatever, and I was bidding on Little John's keywords. I got a cease and desist from Little John's lawyer. So it's a real full circle moment for me here at Shoptalk.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's get that photo.
That's my claim to lame.
All right.
Great to meet you in person again,
so
man.
awesome.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Cheers.